If you sit right there, you're probably going to see right there. We're going to video it. Is it good? Is it? Where is it facing? So when I'm doing the materials, I know like how wide is the angle. Can you see
There's
down
definitely
here?
between flags.
So we can see that door, the door right there,
Uh-huh.
and we can see that corner.
If I were to put materials when I get them out of the box here,
Yep.
can you see?
Yes, we're live.
All right, are we live? Oh, we're live? Okay. All right, for anybody who's watching this, thanks for watching the ELF training video. We're just about to talk about we're about to get into what is in each of the ELF centers. So I was just saying we'll want them to introduce it. There is an introduction, and please stop if you have any questions. We don't have to wait till the end because you'll forget and I'll forget. So there's an introduction box for all of these things, all of the centers and the introduction. It's a suggested script. Whoever's leading it, you only have about 15 minutes. One of the important things for somebody, maybe the parent coordinator of the classroom, somebody can step up to say, I'm going to keep track of time to make sure that we don't run over. So the introduction is should be about 15 minutes. A fun part of it, there is for each of the ELF, there is a puppet script. And there is one thing that hasn't happened yet, and that is creating a puppet theater. I have all the materials in my garage. If anybody is crafty and wants to build a puppet theater, let me know, otherwise I'll tackle that with my kids. So there is a script that it's got Gingy the bear, a spider, and a robin, and you learn a little bit about why spiders spin webs. Even for the little kids, even for the older kids, it's sort of fun to sort of introduce the topic with the puppet show. The older kids, it's up to you to decide if you want to give the script to the teachers a few days before. The older kids might want to actually do the puppet shows themselves. And younger kids sort of assuming that the parents would do it. And I mean, there are first and second graders that read perfectly fine that could read the script. So it's up to you to decide, are parents going to run the puppet show, or are you going to let the kids do that? And then so I wouldn't skip the puppet show, my own personal preference.
You have a question. Is it one of the centers or
it's an introduction? It's part of the introduction. And then there's a whole list of questions. You can kind of read through whatever to do sort of a Q&A with the kids. For the older kids, these are materials that I need to make copies of, so I'll just kind of grab from here. There's a KWL chart. There'll be copies of this in here if you want to hand them out to the class. It's what I know, what I want to know, what I learned. Up to you if you want to use it. You could just verbally talk through it. I mean, some of the older kids might want to physically actually write it down. Like, what do they already know about spiders? In this case, they can kind of sort of talk through some of the questions. What do they want to know? And then in the conclusion would be what I learned. And if you physically do it, then they've got something to take home with them. There is a song chart in here. You want to sing a song? It's not just a spider. There's a few other ones. I mean, like I said, some of these things are more for older kids or more for younger kids, but you can kind of do any combination of them depending on depending on your class. So that is plenty of material for that 15 minutes. The reason why I say start with the puppet show is because depending on how long that takes, then you kind of know how much time you have left for the sort of Q&A with the kids. Then you're going to want to divide them up into groups based on how 4 is the minimum. If you did 4 groups, you would just do centers 1 through 4 and skip the craft. You have your 5, you divide up into 5 groups and centers 1 through 5. And same thing. Just going to try to keep track of time. 2 of the centers I think are best either in the hallway or outside. So it's good to tell everybody, okay, look at the time. I need you to be back here by whatever time. So everyone's coming back to the classroom at the same time so that you can change centers in about 15 minutes. The center one,
Amanda, is this going to be one long video, or are you going to have a separate one for each center?
I am hoping I can cut it. But that is beyond what I've actually figured out. I'm just really hoping I can cut it. Where did it go? All right, that's fine. I'm fine. So center one, I know I told everyone you don't have to bring in everything, but I'm going to provide all the materials. I totally lied. Center one has homework. But I think center one is a pretty good center. So you might be sort of trying to get center one, you might be hoping somebody else. I'm going to be asking whoever signs up for center one. There's nothing in here because we've hunted and hunted in my basement. Nothing. But I am going to be asking you to bring in as many examples of spiders and insects as you go-billy are able to do. It says on there, it'd be great to have one per kid. Kids could be 5 to 8. I mean, that could be 5 to 8. That might be a little, that was sort of like a carryover from the original script. If you're really keen, great. Bonus points for the volunteer that brings in 8 spiders. Alive.
So what do you have in there with it to keep it alive?
A cotton ball of water. Okay. And we're trying not to kill spiders. It's like we're trying to promote being the environmentally friendly. Spiders are great. We're gonna let them go at the end. We're not gonna kill it. Maybe let it go out of the school. So if you sign up for Center One, it's the expectation that you're gonna bring in live spiders and possibly live insects to compare. This center is a comparing of insects and spiders. There's Hanlon's in here. And I'm gonna get some more from the science lab. There's here, everywhere. There's just some little toys. We'll have on loan, I don't have it now because I haven't picked it up yet, but the Colorado Department of Wildlife is loaning us some insect and spider samples. So should you not be able to, like today, I was not able to find anything in my basement, there will be something physical to look at that if you don't have live. There's just white paper in here for them to describe, to maybe draw, color, write down their observations. There is a Venn diagram that at that point will be laminated so that you can talk through what's different about insects, what's different about spiders, what's the same. And in these notes, there's the cheat sheet. They both have exoskeletons. Spiders don't have antennas, insects do. One has 6 legs, one has 8 legs. So all of your sort of cheat sheet is all in the script. And some of these things you might not get to. That's totally fine. If you get sort of stuck on just using a magnifying glass at spiders, that is fine. You can sort of take it as slow or as fast as your group wants to take it. You just have 15 minutes. It's not a huge amount of time. So yeah, some of these things you might barely get through. There's is it in here? Oh, and each of these have some things that I have are interesting. Parts of a spider, so if you're looking at it and see, can you find the spinnerets? Who knew what a spinneret? I didn't know. There's a pedipalp. Can you find the pedipalps? The males have bulbous pedipalps. Could you identify that? Who knows? You could try. So yeah, so hopefully there's plenty of material to sort of take it as far or as short as you have time for.
I think the pet stores we have insects and spiders.
Yeah, crickets.
Yeah.
So you can get pets. It's funny because I was even considering doing that. I was like, you're crazy. Why would you get a pet spider just for us? But you could.
They do have tarantulas and stuff.
They do have
your tarantula.
You can
I
get
love
the
that.
crickets at the pet store.
So it's,
And I don't think they're very
I feel like Amazon too. I don't know.
buy everything about already. Because they're like the food for so many different animals. So yeah, that could be. Just a side note, I had this one of my brilliant ideas that we were gonna eat crickets at the end because I buy them for my own kids as just like salad toppings as a novelty. But that's not allowed. Shellfish allergy. Does anybody have questions about Center 1? There's some crowns and markers in here, but you can use classroom materials as well. I just know by the end of the year, sometimes classroom materials are a little worn out. And so that's Center 1. Center 2. Center 2 is here. Oh, now I'm going to like put everything back, which is fine. And Center 2 is what my kids have the most fun. Like, I have the joy of helping me make these things. Center 2 is all about webs. So we talked all about, you'll talk all about spiders. Oh, another thing about that Center 1, I'm not going to do that right now just for time. There is a rolled up poster with all kinds of visual spiders on it. And if I get onto it, there might be some more printouts of spiders to look at. Like I said, you will physically have a sort of box of spiders from the color department of web. So Center 2 is about webs, and not just the like classic orb web. There is, of course, a classic orb web. That's where it starts with looking at. And so I'm going to show you this now, so that when you're like, what in the world is that? What has Amanda done? While she watches shows. That's your orb web. So so you can get that out with the kids, kind of stretch it out, whatever. It's different materials on the spokes and different materials on the spiral, because one of the talking points is it's different kinds of silk. So the spokes are dry, the spiders won't stick to it. The white is the sticky, and so the spiders, that's how they catch their prey, is they get into the spiral. There's a little, so there's some tape in here. If you want to lay it out, show the kids. It's sticky on the spiral. The spiders are able to go onto the sticky parts. They think, they're not totally sure, but they think it's because they secrete oils. So there is wax paper, there is cooking oil. Rip off a piece of wax paper, spray some cooking oil, show how the oils make it slippery on the wax paper. There are play spiders and insects. You can kind of role play that if you want. There's a lot in this center, so you probably don't want to spend too much time on the orb web, because the purse web spider is a rock over there. My kindergarten came for preschooler. It is a rock with a purse web net, which it's kind of too big for them to physically like pretend to be. To put their fingers through the purse web, but you can kind of role play. The idea is that if an insect walks over in a real purse web, that the purse web spider has such big fangs, it can bite all the way through the web, and then it pulls it in, repairs its web, and then puts its insect inside. In this example, you can only do that from the top, and then you can kind of like pull the spider web. So you can kind of role play with it a little bit. The trapdoor spider is kind of fun. This one you really could role play with the kids. Someone's got the spider underneath. The insect walks up. He comes out. And gets the spider. And eats it inside. I'll make it into making a mess. Oh well. That's purse web, trapdoor. The lassoing, I expect will be a hit. Maybe a total distraction, might not be able to get beyond it. In my list or my stack of papers to laminate are some paper moths. So the lasso, the bola spider makes a lasso, and it grabs the moth out of the air and pulls it in and shoots it. So we have little like laminated moths that the kids can. It's really hard. Honestly, we tried it at home, and like you just swung the thing around, but it was really hard to like actually get it to stick onto the little moth, but you totally tried. That's how the willow spider hunts and eats it. And there's some more notes on here that connect you to books. Thank God for Amazon and used books. And so it's got the page numbers. You can kind of look in the books for some additional information about these different kinds of hunting spiders. The net casting, just for time, I'm not going to get it out. But it's a hair net. I didn't know it was in here. It's a hair net. Gross. So anyways, the net casting spider holds its net. It doesn't build a web, it holds its web in its feet and then throws it at insects. So you can play around with running away or something. So this one is very, very hands-on. You don't get all the way through all the different types, totally fine. But just keep that in mind to not get totally stuck up on the core web because some of these other examples are kind of fun. Any questions?
Can we come in like beforehand to like kind of go through
Absolutely.
it? Okay.
Absolutely. So as soon, I might be able to leave these things at school today, and if so, I'll, so back up real quick. All of this, the script, the puppet show, there's a background sort of information about spiders directly from the Vermont Institute of Natural Science. It is on the PTSA website now. Wow. So as this script, I had a few more changes. I'll get it sent to Janice today to upload to the website. But so that's your like go-to place to find information. That's where I will upload where in the world are these materials. It's been sort of a learning curve to figure out how to communicate to everybody. That being said, I'll probably also send an email because I do have all the volunteers that are signed up.
I might have missed this in the first couple minutes, but so in the sets or the stations, if you have 5 volunteers, which is what the goal is for each class, right?
That's right.
Each classroom. So there's 5 people running each of those stations, is that right?
So one person running.
Right. So saying about if you get 5 people, okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, that's
why it needs to be 5.
there's one class. Miss Perry's class right now has 6, 7, 8. Well, there's a few people that might drop out. But in theory, you could have more. Another job that you could make is a timekeeper to kind of walk around and make sure, like, okay, guys, I'm gonna like get back to the classroom.
But there's not too many volunteers right now, is there? No.
Except for Miss Perry.
There's
no such thing as
why
two.
I was gonna say.
Can we borrow some of theirs? Miss Perry's class
I'm the only one in
is super keen to we'll probably be pushing to get to 5.
Okay, yeah.
From what it looks like right now, I realize it's kind of like totally overwhelmed people between the science and engineering fair and begging for ELF volunteers. Valentine's is next week, so I'm expecting there's going to be a lot of people that let the science or let Valentine's get past us, let their science projects get sort of underway, and then might be willing to consider being an ELF volunteer.
Well, in the future too, maybe we could get some of the 5th graders to actually run stations in the littler kids' rooms and stuff, you know?
So that's another thing. So Mitchell and Kippen don't do ELF in 5th grade. So we're trying. Actually, 5th grade is doing pretty well with volunteers. So we'll see. That maybe they like having it, or maybe in the future they get to have ELF in their classroom and then they go out and teach ELF to the kids. So there's a lot of brainstorming that goes in. I'm also reached out to Mines. I haven't heard back yet. And so we've put the email out to see if we can get some Mines volunteers to fill in the place. Any other questions for you to talk about?
Yes.
March, with the exception of 2nd grade, is the week after 2nd grade. Everybody else. Yeah, March 5th, class. There's a lot. Yeah, so I guess, so logistically, we'd have a break through April, and then we're asking to get volunteers. And then take do the tracks and traces. I'll text him. All right, center 3. Okay. Center 3, I'm assuming it's outside, but it doesn't have to be outside. It should probably not be in the classroom because it is about vibrations in the webs. So there's only 3 in here. There'll be more blocks, enough for 1 kid. You don't have to wear. Yes, we do. I know, my kids had a lot of fun making spiders. So the spider is welcome to wear the headband. They sit in the middle. Just I don't even know how to say crisscross applesauce in any other way, but that way. Or they sit down. And then they're going to want to, each other kid in the group, how many, is going to want to get a block. The block stays at the spider, and then the insect, and there are, you can't see it, but you can imagine, if I can get it unstuck, they're welcome to wear their insect antennas. These instructions are in there, but they're going to want to pull their, see that on the video, but they're going to want to pull it tight. The parent is there's a blindfold in there, so the spider is blindfolded. Spiders they have up to 8 eyes, 8 to 6 eyes. They don't see very well, at least the orb spiders don't. So this is sort of a demonstration in how do they figure out where their prey is if they can't see. And so the kids are going to want to pull their string tight, not touching the ground. And then the parent's going to want to pick 1 insect to pluck it. The spider's going to have their hands on all the strings. When they feel, oh, that's the one, they're going to want to follow it and get their insect. If they get it right, they switch places. That part of the game you can kind of add with as you want. But it's a game on sort of vibrations and how the spider figures out where in the web is there something caught in the web. And then the other part of that, Jessica brought in and it has favorites on it. It's just perfect. There's little insects. So if you looked at the script, it has sort of it's a script actually where it sort of leads you through. The parent can be, or the volunteer can sort of be the narrator. Talk about where does the orb web spider sit? Orb web spiders sit in the center. Triangular spiders sit on the side. This is sort of an example of an orb web spider. So we put our spider in the center. The next kid then, based on this little script that the parent reading, the next kid can put an insect. Then the next kid takes the spider. There's some silk. I can wrap them up. So it's just sort of like walking through the steps of how it wraps up the spider and then proceeds to eat the spider. And that leads right into how do spiders eat. And I sort of gotten kind of into this with absorbing my life in spiders last few weeks. I think this is pretty cool. They spit enzymes, the venom, and their spit, whatever you want to call it, actually has enzymes that are dissolving the insides of the insect. So they don't drink the blood, so to speak. They dissolve their prey, and then they do drink a liquid diet. So there are sugar cubes to show the exoskeleton of your insect that you get to put into a cup. It's up to you if you want to let each kid have a sugar cube in a little cup. If you just want example, it's probably just based on time. It's assuming that you'll get some warm water. But it'd probably be better with warm, but you're assuming you get some warm water. So even though I think this is a hallway center, was my idea. Maybe kind of park somewhere near one of the bathrooms so you can go grab some warm water from the sink. And there is an eyedropper or pipette in here to drop some warm water and show how it dissolves. It's just showing how you can take something hard and make it soft, so that the spider can eat its liquid diet. With all of these centers, as I was going through, if you run out of time, there's usually something further that you could look at. Spiders listen to their webs, and debunking or proving the myth that spiders only suck juices. They do. They only drink the liquid diet. So hopefully, you guys, I love. The hard thing about this is, actually not the hard thing about this. So as some of the earlier classes, I can't remember how the schedule goes exactly. This calendar is up on the website, and a lot of people my link was totally messed up in that latest flyer. If you notice, hey, you know what? We finished up a center early. Like there could be some extra materials, or you could add something, or it was way too much. Let me know. So the idea with ELF is that this, the spiders would be cycled back through in 4 years. But that we would be doing, consistently doing new ELF materials for 4 years in a row. But all these materials will be saved and put into a bin, so in 4 years' time, we come back to spiders. So if there's any ideas for improving the centers, I would love that. Center 4, if you only have 4 volunteers, would be your last center. It's a scavenger hunt. This is the one I'm hoping, regardless of the weather, that you're going to get out there. The idea is that with every ELF unit, at least one of the centers is outside. A lot of these other ones could, technically, if it's a nice sunny day, it's totally fine to take some of these other inside centers outside, like sort of a parent by parent or volunteer by volunteer basis. This one kind of begs to be outside. There are clipboards. There will be it's not in here because I haven't laminated it yet, but it's a laminated scavenger hunt. On the script, it kind of visually or verbally tells you what to look for. So for some of the younger kids, you may or may not want to actually have them carrying around clipboards that might be just left somewhere. You could just visually, hey, now we're going to go out and we're going to look around for see if we can find any spider web. Now we're going to see, can we find I mean, this might be a little ambitious. An insect caught in a web. I don't know. You may not find anything, but it's sort of like the door of which go to the garden. You can go. I think the garden is your go-to. Around the shed, where the blocks inside the shed. There's some plywood back behind the shed that might just for some cozy little spiderweb habitat. So I think your garden's your go-to. If you can't find spiders, by all means look for insects. If you're kind of comparing insects and spiders anyways, dig around in the dirt, try to find something that's notable. And there's a fun little activity, whether or not you can find something or not find something, to link arms and see what it's like to walk with 8 legs. So that one's just sort of an outside. It's not super in-depth, but it's just sort of get outside for the, probably at the end, probably only have about 2 minutes, but just walk out there and walk down. The craft is a little bit more than just a craft if you have time for it. So so Center 5, you get your 5 volunteers. Great. It means your groups are smaller. It means you go a little bit longer. That's the other thing for the group. That's another thing to point out. Please talk to your teachers. There may be some circumstances where they really don't have 2 hours to give people. They want to do ELF, they're supportive of ELF. Maybe they only have an hour and a half, and maybe even if you have 5 volunteers, they're asking you to do 4 centers so they can kind of like wrap everything on something else. So please talk to your teachers and see, do we have the time to go through all 5 centers plus the intro and inclusion? If you spend your 15 minutes in each of those things, it adds up to be an hour and 45 minutes if you stay on time. So even so, you should always be within that 2 hours. But yeah, talk to your teachers if they need you to wrap up. The spider craft is kind of fun. You're just begging to cut. I'm gonna be cutting in the evenings, but circles. Because, let me find my example on here. It is a friendly little spider with a drag line. It's got a small little head, simple thorax, it's got a lot of abdomen. There are pipe cleaners. I'll be checking the centers to restock materials. I didn't want to stuff 500 times 4 pipe cleaners into this box all at one time. So if you finish up a center, like pipe cleaners are totally out. Let me know. Although I do plan to be checking it, so hopefully I would know that anyways. So you want to tape on. My kids decided to make the front legs short, so they cut the pipe cleaner in half and the back legs long. Totally up to you guys how you want to do it. And then there's 2 little pieces of straw. I don't know if you can see that. A bag of straws here. And then you have about a 5 to 6 foot length of string, which is your drag line, that loops at the top so that, Stephanie, you want to be my demonstrator? Hold your hand out like this. So you can make your spider climb. So that's the craft. For the older kids, it might go pretty fast. The younger kids might need 15 minutes. I mean, gluing on, there's eyeballs in here, somewhere in here, there's eyeballs to glue on like that. It might take your full amount of time to tape and glue with a group of 5 kindergartners, even first graders. For the older kids or any group that gets through it quickly, there is a felt board, so they can go back over. They can go back over the parts of the spider. Female spider, she's a little bit bigger. Her head of palps are a little pointier. The male one's a little bit smaller. His head of palps are more bulbous. So you can play around with the different parts of a spider. There's a cheat sheet on there. There is something else in the center. Oh, the other thing in the center, it doesn't have a hands-on activity. It should, but I don't know if I'm going to get to it. Mainly because I don't know how many groups are actually going to get this far after they've kind of played around with the felt and made a craft. But one thing that is super cool about spiders, and there's some articles here if you kind of want to read about it with older kids, is that they don't have bones, they don't have muscles. Their legs are, they are powered or moved by fluid hydraulics. So they actually are pumping fluid, a blood-like substance, to make themselves move. One of the theories of why they're so skittish to move around is because just as a self-preservation, if they are poked or punctured, they lose the pressure and they can't move. So they're actually quite fragile. So it's more of just a talk through, just like, wow, isn't that cool? It's pretty cool. I mean, you can talk about hydraulics and heavy machinery. It's the same idea. I'm kind of taking myself because we did a whole fluid hydraulic project. It was a total flop. I had 1 million syringes. It would have been a perfect hands-on. So that's, if anybody wants to take on a hands-on hydraulic and syringes in little tubes, you can kind of show how you can push fluids from one end to make something else move. The reality is I'm probably not going to get to that, but you can talk through it. And like I said, there's some kind of fun articles about, well, this is an article about the structure of a drag line, and this is an article about how the fluid hydraulics work in spiders. The structure of the drag line is just all talking about tensile strength. I don't know if you 5th graders understand tensile strength, but maybe. Maybe they can. So some of these concepts might be kind of big, but at the same time, it's an introduction to a lot of these different scientific principles.
Do you have links to the articles on the website with the
I don't have links. So there are hard copies. So So I do it on my own personal computer. I wasn't sure how. I didn't want to overwhelm the website. So right now the website just has a very sort of it just has the background information. It's a 2-page sort of article produced by Ben, and these are in hard copy. If you think that would benefit everyone, I mean, I could.
I don't know, it'd just be hard to read those ahead of time. I
You're
think.
probably not. You probably are not going to read them ahead of time. If you think,
Just volunteers, not.
absolutely. So I don't know if every volunteer would want all of these different links, but maybe I could put that out.
If them will take them, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Station
How
one,
about this?
station
Once I don't think about the logistics of that, but once we kind of figure out who's maybe Center 1 doesn't really care about all of Center 5's extra resources.
Well, you didn't know yet.
You won't know. No. I know what I can do. I now have a Shelton Science, no, that's different. It's Shelton Elf, it's called sheltonelfscience@gmail.com. I can upload all of these articles to the Google Drive and share it with all of the volunteers. I'll do that. And that way, if you want to go read about the tensile strength of dragline, which apparently is stronger than steel weight for weight. A strand of dragline wrapped around the earth would weigh about 500 pounds. The conclusion, so then once you finish up with your Center 5 or Center 4, depending on how you're running it, you'd want to bring everybody back to the classroom and kind of wrap it up. I'm just looking for the same bin as with the puppet materials and the introductory materials. Let's see, let me remind myself. They're same as the introduction. See how much time, see how the sort of energy in the class is. There's a exercise where you could get your kids to sort of sit in a circle. In a little script here, it says, ask the kids to think about something especially interesting to learn about spiders. You take out your thread, first because the thing I learned was, and they hold on to the thread and roll it to somebody across the circle. And then you kind of continue to roll into your little tangled web as the kids are sharing what they learned. That's one idea. I didn't think to put them in here. I have stacks of books from the Jeffco Public Library. I'm actually going to need to give those back and reach. I'll check. What I will commit to is having 2 or 3 that might vary throughout March, depending on availability of books that you could to the kids. There's a lot of spiders and folk tales. So books, not so much not nonfiction books, but more folk tales, sort of wrapped up with myths about spiders or folk tales about spiders. So you could pick a book even right before, just grab one of them and read it with the kids. If you did the KWL hunt, that would be the time to film your what I learned part of it. And any center that would possibly wrapped up. Almost made agreement. There's a supplementary spider activities. So if you were to wrap up early in any of your activities, any group leader could come to the intro and introduction box, which should be right there in the classroom. And there'll be spider crosswords, just a little bit easier for younger kids. There's a word scramble in here. Somewhere in here is a spider maze. So I'll try to keep it stocked with copies that you can kind of pass out as just extra stuff to fill your time through any of these. I think you're going to wrap up early. I think more likely you're not going to get through it, which is fine. That's the idea, that there's more, that you get to kind of pick and choose what you want to do, and that, some kids might not care about one particular thing, and so you need to just move on. So that's even more stuff that you can that's there for you if you need it. Any questions?
How much time do we have, or we have to discuss?
The teachers have blocked out 2 hours. With a 15-minute introduction, 5 15-minute scenarios, and a 15-minute conclusion. And that information, just as a reminder, is at the sort of top of the script. Oh my God, how much time are we supposed to spend? If you're kind of keeping track of time, adds up to an hour and 45 minutes. You can talk with your teachers. Maybe maybe that extra 15 minutes is there for you to extend your conclusion. Maybe they want to try to take back those 15 minutes and move on to the next activity of the day. So that's sort of a teacher thing. There is a link. There is not a link. There is I know art class has access to Netflix. I don't know how that's normal. You could suggest or just give information to teachers if they're looking for a short video at any, like before or after the LPNIC. There's a Magic School Bus. Season 3, episode 2 is about spiders. So we're going to short video anyways. You can give them that information. It's on Netflix.
Should the classroom coordinator make like a sign up so that everyone can know their
Yes.
center ahead of time?
You think that's reasonable to ask? I'm trying not to, I know this was my husband calls it my organic work project. Nobody asked for this. No one was begging for help. It's totally my fault. I'm the person to blame. So I'm trying to reduce volunteer load to make it easy and then sort of up my expectations.
I don't think making a sign up for 5 blocks is hard, but some people have never made a sign up and they're intimidated.
That would be awesome if it was a class by class. So I'm sort of heading up getting the volunteers, or at least keeping the spreadsheet of the volunteers. There are 3 or 4 classes now that officially have those 5 volunteers, and so right at this point I've just given those, shared all of everyone's email with each other. So you 5 are the volunteers. So yes, I think I will ask of that. If you come back to me and say, I'm sorry, no, that's not what I signed up for. And I'll say, okay, that's fine. I will help you. And then I'm hoping that maybe next time in May, when we do tracks and traces, that people will sort of gain some confidence about being the parent coordinator, and we'll kind of take that on. That's reasonable? Sure. You're in my class, so.
Yeah, well, I'm the coordinator for Perry.
Oh, and Perry's too.
That's what I was getting confused with. Is there a coordinator for this health in each class? Like a leader? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, so,
She just happens to be the leader and the coordinator of the class.
oh, so I'm calling the parent coordinator the same as the leader. Like parent coordinator is the point for that class. To either figure out who's going to lead each center, to lead the introduction and conclusion, or delegate it. That's fine too.
Yeah,
I'm totally open to just making it sort of run.
We're gonna meet ahead of time, like 15 minutes, and just give everybody their box, let them go through it.
I did. I went to Mitchell over to shadow an ELF program. I went to shadow an ELF program. That's amazing. Meet 15 minutes beforehand, kind of meet at the storage area, get all the materials together. It's a lot of boxes. I mean, it's a lot to ask the parent coordinator to carry everything. And look through your box. Look through it, kind of do your quick 15-minute speed read. It's awesome if you do a little prep beforehand. But we're all busy, so sometimes you can do that. Sometimes you wing it, and in the first station, you're winging it. By the 5th station, you are a pro. So that's sort of that's up to parent, volunteer by volunteer, how you want to do it.
You haven't had it.
So if I don't have any volunteers to sign up yet, just a few, and at the end of the maybe month, there'll be more, do I have that sent to me, or how do I?
This will be, I will send it to Janice Murphy, who is helping with the website. I'll send it to her today. Yes, so that she can. So right now, if you go to the Shelton PTSA website, you'll find the puppet script. You'll find the background information, and then although I'll send it to her today, she might be busy. Within the next few days, she'll hopefully be able to upload this exact script that you're looking at. And also this video, which I'll have, it might just be a raw video, and which I think we can turn the video off at this point. Thank you